Tonight on News 5 Live, territorial disputes and Haiti among topics at Day 2 of Caricom Intersessional. UDP notable Herbert Panton passes. And are Belizeans ready to take off their masks outside? These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
Partner with Smart for over 10 plus years. We have a full Smart plan we use as our major driver for our business. We have a service that rolls over in that if you call one and it is busy, it rolls over to the next line. So once you call us, you can get us at any time. Before we got this Smart service, we were paying upwards of nearly $2,000 in phone bills. Since we've had our Smart service, we pay an average about $600. So we've had tremendous saving, more than 50%. For the businesses, if you want to save money, switch to Smart because it is far more cost effective and the service is excellent.
Smart continues to be innovative in bringing new technology and meaningful savings during these challenging times to businesses across Belize. Sign up for our VoIP technology or broadband packages and save more.
No need to buy fuel anymore. Use 100% electricity with zero emissions at quarter of the cost of fuel. Drive with confidence. No destination is out of your reach. Travel anytime, anywhere. BEL, supporting 100% electric vehicles with charging stations coming soon, countrywide, to parks and public spaces, restaurants, hotels, grocery stores, and even service stations. BEL, powering everything, anytime, anywhere.
Are you looking for the right product to keep your family and your home safe? Then Spark Alcohol is exactly what you've been looking for. It prevents the spread of many diseases. It's also fast-drying, safe, and conveniently packaged in a spray bottle. Protect your family and your home with Spark Alcohol. Exclusively distributed by Unitex Company Limited.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Wednesday, March 2nd. I am Sabrina Daly. The United Democratic Party has suffered another major loss with the sudden passing of Herbert Panton. Panton, who is the husband of Albert Area Representative Tracy Tager Panton, died earlier today after being hospitalized overnight here in Belize City. A stalwart of the UDP, Panton served the party in many capacities, including holding the post of Assistant Secretary General. As an officer of the court, Panton also served as a senior magistrate in the Belize District jurisdiction. This afternoon, UDP Chairman Mike Perifete remembered his colleague in the legal fraternity and the party.
I don't have details as to what happened. All I know is that he was admitted to the hospital last night, and today he succumbed to whatever he was admitted for last night. Other than that, I have no details, but I think I can confirm indeed that he has passed.
Give us some background on Herbert Panton as a member of the United Democratic Party, one, and secondly, as a brother in the legal fraternity.
In terms of UDP, five-star general, there's no bigger UDP than Herbert Panton, no bigger supporter of the UDP than Herbert Panton. It is a sad, sad day, and his passing is a serious blow to the United Democratic Party. That's all I can say. I'm still in shock. I still can't believe it, still couldn't believe it when I first heard it, and it's going to be a huge, huge loss for us. In terms of my brother, I know Herbie always wanted to be a lawyer. He moved mountains to go to law school. He made all the necessary sacrifices. He was a magistrate even, distinguished attorney. And so we have lost not just a colleague, but a UDP brother and also a friend. He was the editor of the newspaper at one point, Assistant Secretary General of the party at one point. He has played so many different roles for the UDP. And always one of those people who would be the first to put us right, one of the first persons to tell us what we were doing well, what we were doing wrong, and he was a person who you would listen to, the person whose opinion mattered. And so as an overall supporter of the party and an official of the party, his contributions are immeasurable. And today we just miss him.
Could you speak to his brutal honesty? I know that on many occasions he may have robbed some of the party members and supporters by being abrasive in some way, but he was known for his brutal honesty, correct?
But that's what I just said. He would be the first one to put us right. He shot straight. That's Herbie. And in the contact sport of politics, you need that from within, because it is that type of upfront, brutal honesty that prepares you for the real opponent.
As we've mentioned, Herbert Panton is the husband of Tracy Tager Panton, who is one of two candidates vying for the leadership of the United Democratic Party on March 27th. While the date for the leadership convention has been set for several weeks now, the UDP chairman says that the convention is not on the party's mind at the moment. Undoubtedly, the untimely death of Panton will affect his wife's candidacy. But according to Perifete, Herbert Panton will be sent off with the respect and dignity he had for his party.
To be honest with you, that's not even in my mind right now. And from the other members of the UDP who I've spoken to, nobody has mentioned even that. So all we're doing right now is mourning and missing a friend and a brother in the UDP. All that other stuff is secondary. This has to be a critical day for them. This has to be a day that's just devastating. And if you know anything about Tracy and Herbert, you know that they were each other's lives. They were not just husband and wife, but they were best of friends. They had each other's back no matter what, and that was a special, special relationship. So it has to be devastating for her. It has to be devastating for their children. I mean, it has to be. Herbie will get the maximum amount of love and respect from the UDP. He will get the same maximum love and respect from the UDP that he gave to the UDP.
The rate of inflation was a key issue during the recent cabinet retreat. Prime Minister John Briceño says, while there are many factors that have led to the high cost of living, some global, there are measures that the government can take to ease the burden on consumers.
While price increases are due largely to external factors, we believe that there are steps that can be taken by government to ease the hardship. We are actively reviewing the basket of goods on which tax relief can be granted. We'll vigorously increase enforcement of price controls and adopt measures to curb price gouging.
On Tuesday night, Caricom's heads of government were treated to a night of Belizean cultural cuisine and live music. Prime Minister John Briceño says it was a really enjoyable event featuring the best local dishes. He told News 5's Paul Lopez about his personal favorites.
That was something quite an eye-opener, even for myself being a local. I must give credit to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that what they did is that they had what they call Taste Belize. So they had different from tacos to shrimp in a coconut husk. You know, I mean, that was exceptional. Hudut, rice and beans. I could not. I mean, I was going for the hudut and I said rice and beans, and it looked so nice and juicy and wet and soft. I had to get some of the rice and beans and some of the hudut. So it was quite
rice and beans with hudut.
Yes, I put the hudut on the side and I eat both of them. But I'm happy that our visitors are really enjoying. You know, many of them they're coming to Belize for the first time. Some of the heads have been here, but others for the first time, or their staff. And they are having a blast, and they recognized that Belize is different in the sense we have something different to offer than the Caribbean.
Coming up, Belizeans no longer have to wear face masks outside. But are they ready to do it? Dwayne Moody hits the streets when we return.
Staying connected with your loved ones while traveling is even more important during this global pandemic. With Digi, this is even easier and more convenient with our data roaming plans. Postpaid customers have instant access to mobile data when in 41 destinations worldwide. With 3 affordable plans, starting at only $28, it's easy to instantly connect via your favorite digital platform. To purchase your data roaming plan, contact Digi before your travel date. If you are already abroad, you can contact us via email at digihelp@livedigi.com or via WhatsApp at 608-8888. For more information, visit our website at livedigi.com/digicel or visit a Digi store near you. You can roam, stay safe, and stay connected with Digi.
Who said money can't grow on trees? Our trees don't just store carbon and provide us with oxygen, but are valuable, renewable resources that secure our social, economic, and environmental well-being. But we have lost more than 40% of our forests already, and we are at risk of losing more than 60% of our forests by the year 2050. The Forest Department promotes sustainable or smart harvesting of timber, ensuring that each year only a limited number of mature trees are harvested with the least impact of our forests. Today, 4 local communities and 10 corporations are actively engaged in sustainable timber harvesting, responsibly ensuring that our forests can naturally regrow for our future. Care for our forests by being smart consumers and buying timber only from legal sources. Learn more by contacting the Forest Department at 822-1524 or find us on Facebook. A message from the Forest Department through the Key Biodiversity Areas Project.
Can I trust hybrid technology?
Ah, come on, no need to be shy. Toyota's hybrid technology isn't new. We've been optimizing it for over 20 years, beginning with its first generation, right through the fourth generation models on the road today. And while other manufacturers are just getting started, we're putting our hybrid leading technology at the heart of all our vehicles for the years to come.
Towering above us, they give us oxygen and food, tools and shelter, and create some of the most biodiverse habitats on Earth. As the biggest plants on the planet, trees are important for life. In fact, research shows that within minutes of being surrounded by trees, your blood pressure drops, your heart rate slows down, and your stress levels plummet. In Belize, we are blessed to have 60% of our national territory under forest cover and nearly half of our national territory safeguarded in the form of protected areas. Protected areas are safe havens that preserve our forests and jungles of Belize from mass destruction and extraction, or as it's known, deforestation. And as Belize's population increases, it's opening a gateway for unsustainable rural land use. Logging and farming also significantly contributes to deforestation. We need healthy forests, as they absorb carbon dioxide and other harmful gases from the atmosphere. So without them, the rate of climate change accelerates and greenhouse gases in the atmosphere increases. Without forests, soil would wash away, leaving behind a barren wasteland where no crops will grow, forcing farmers to move on and repeat this destructive cycle elsewhere. Like kidneys, trees control the flow and use of water by catching rain and slowly releasing it into rivers and streams or into groundwater below, which protects us from flooding. As the heart and lungs of the world, trees power and sustain ecosystems. They offer habitation both above and below the ground to numerous insects and bigger animals alike. By providing food and shelter, Belize's forests and jungles support life and rich biodiversity. Without trees, what will be left of our jewel? We must work together to combat the unsustainable use of land and illegal logging. We encourage you to preserve existing forest ecosystems and to support protected areas. A message from APAMO, the voice of Belize's protected areas.
It was a much anticipated statutory instrument with hopes for major changes to COVID regulations. Significantly, the March 1st amended SI did move the curfew that has been in place for almost 2 years now. It also made a slight change to the mask mandate. Combing through the legislation, it becomes clear that, at the moment, there is only one alteration for mask wearing, and that is in outdoor spaces. This morning on Channel 5's Open Your Eyes, Minister of Health Kevin Bernard reminded Belizeans of all the other places they do have to continue wearing their masks.
We have had several changes in the time for curfew. We felt that it has served its purpose. And that was the first decision was made that we have to lift the curfew. I know the other one is the issue of the mask. Yeah. The decision was made that mask will only be required if you're outdoor. And I just want to point out a section of the SI which states when you need to wear that mask. Okay. The mask must be worn when you are conducting or any gathering when you're indoor or in a closed space. For example, you're going to a church service, a wedding ceremony or celebration, a funeral service, wake or repast, if you're attending a social club event, including those fraternal society, a civic a civil association or organization of a private club, or any other reception, whether as well if you're accessing a government building or office, including the building of or office of statutory bodies, business offices, shops, stores, supermarkets, hardware stores, or any other business establishment, and importantly, public transportation.
It's been 2 days since the mask mandate for outdoor spaces has been removed. While, according to the new SI, there are still areas where the wearing of face masks will apply, it is welcomed with some level of relief. A News 5 team headed to downtown Belize City and found out that, despite an ease to restrictions, residents have already gotten used to the masks and are still practicing caution.
Today we headed to downtown Albert Street where almost everyone was wearing a mask, but effective March 1st, they don't have to wear a mask in public open spaces and would only have to put on one when entering an enclosed area, building, church, and government department. But for some, wearing a mask has become commonplace, and it will take some time to change.
I tend to be a very cautious person, and I understand that the mask mandates have been lifted, but at the same time, I still like to take precautions. I have a family that I want to take care of, make sure they stay safe, so I keep mine on just for the precaution.
There were a few residents, however, who are not wearing masks, which is perfectly legal at this time. So we stopped to ask them about their feelings.
Feel good, you don't need to wear a mask. You're not mandatory, no more, so why wear it?
Want to give you maybe that sense of normalcy, going back
yes,
to...
It does, definitely. It's good if you not wear the mask, but then it could just stay away from it.
For Dangriga residents Rydell Baird and Jerome Morales, they carried their masks in their back pockets, but expressed a sense of relief of not having to look over their shoulders about masks and be out even past the 11 o'clock curfew hour.
I have to start breathing now, and I will breathe for 2 years. Yeah, well, basically, just like what my big brother say, masks, they got times for the shorter bit people, you can't really breathe good during the mask, and activities you do during the day actually affect your breathing. Also, wrong there time, if you could get the chance to do it, and I say, why not,
Despite the mixed comments today, one thing was for certain. All are well aware that COVID is still out there, and they must remain vigilant.
The numbers have been dropping steadily. We have a rather high vaccination rate within the country, so we are taking necessary precautions as a country, which I appreciate. But like you rightly mentioned, the threat itself is not completely gone. Even those who are vaccinated can still contract the virus. So in efforts to keep safe, I'm just taking the necessary precautions. This is my personal choice, of course.
We stay with our sanitizer, and basically, once we go around people who don't have any mask, we have we mask on. When I have things span, that's how we do it. Because we have we masks. We can't go to war without a gun. You understand? So we have. So when we see people without masks, then we mask up. So that's how we do it.
Yeah, well, like man say, you just have to be precautious, Wash your hands anytime you have any free time, put on a mask if you enter a building or stuff like that. And then Father, leave the rest to God.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
While there is relief drawn down from the new SI and the curfew has been lifted, bars and clubs are not opening just yet. It will be another few weeks before that is realized. So, what do residents have to say about that?
Is it bad for me to say I can't wait? I'm sorry. I would like to get up and out. It's been a bit slow for quite some time. It was very, very, very strange walking yesterday after 11, after that curfew has been lifted, and there was, no sense of tension. It was very interesting, a very interesting experience after a year and 5 months or so.
Not really. No? We don't go out, so stay inside.
No. I think it would be much safer for still stay inside and then just avoid as much crowd as possible, because some people still do have COVID and just walk around like they don't.
I know they also said that they will open up back clubs and bars. Is this something that you guys look forward to?
Well, I never find a club or bars, so it no matter to me.
Also on this morning's Open Your Eyes interview, Minister of Health Kevin Bernard addressed the changes in the SI concerning COVID testing at the land borders and the PGIA. Minister Bernard says Belizeans who are coming back into the country and have proof of vaccination will not need to pay for COVID tests on re-entry.
One of the main change that has now been changed is, let's talk about the Belizeans first. As you know, Belizeans going out of the country must be vaccinated. That remains.
Okay.
The only change really that took effect was that now persons coming into the country does not necessarily have to test if you have proof of vaccination or proof of immunization, meaning you have taken your full vaccines.
Okay.
And so in the case of Belizeans, it's only vaccinated person who can leave. It's only vaccinated people who can leave the country. So upon them returning to the country, whether after a day or 2 or 3, whatever days you spend outside, you no longer need to test on return.
Minister Bernard says, of course, travelers must still abide by the requirements of the countries they are visiting. If COVID tests are required for entry there, this is beyond the control of Belizean regulations. The 33rd intersessional meeting of the heads of Caricom countries. During day 2 of the meetings, the talks focused on issues the nation of Haiti is facing and ways in which the community can offer support. Additionally, climate change was on the agenda for today. While the working sessions are closed to the press, News 5 caught up with Prime Minister Briceño earlier today outside a church in San Pedro town, where he went to observe Ash Wednesday.
This morning, first we finished caucus. Yesterday evening we went on caucus. We just spoke about Belize, Guatemala. We gave them an update. Then we spoke about Guyana, Venezuela, and they also gave us an update. And then today we're going to be dealing with Haiti. Haiti is a particularly difficult one. Haiti has been going through a very, very difficult time from the assassination of their president, and hurricanes, floodings, earthquakes, all in one, and so they are almost at a point of almost not functioning. And so we as a community, we can't turn our backs on Haiti. We need to stick with them. They are a member of the community, and see how we can garner international support for Haiti. And of course, today we're going to talk with the 5 Cs. The climate change office in Belize is going to give us an update on COP26 and what are the steps going forward.
After the break, the Deputy Prime Minister of St. Vincent talks food security. Stay with us.
My name is Julie, and I'm a single mom raising a 10-year-old son. I'm the director for a conservation organization. When I started working in the field of marine conservation, it was absolutely male-dominated. It still is male-dominated. One of my first jobs was as a manager out on a remote island with all male staff reporting to me. And one of my assistants was very upset with me and actually told me, the only woman whoever tells me what to do is my mom. And I have my son, and I really do want to show him that really anything can be done, and it doesn't matter who you are. From day one, I've been teaching my son that any job that a man can do, a woman can do. And he has learned this, and he now preaches this to friends and even my colleagues.
Live and let live. Respect for all Belizeans.
Service provider that allows you to stay connected with fast, reliable LTE coverage anytime, anywhere. Whether it's just to catch up with family, to share that experience with your one special friend, or to manage your small business. Whatever's your thing, you deserve to have the best mobile experience. Now you can do even more while on the go with the increased anytime data allowance in Digi's mobile postpaid plans. You now enjoy 8 gigs of anytime data starting at only $55 monthly. Or share up to 120 gigs of anytime data with up to 6 of your closest friends. That's more LTE data for you to enjoy during the day, nights, and weekends. no restrictions. So keep your gigs up with more data plus unlimited talk and text in all Digi postpaid plans. Visit a Digi store near you to sign up today. All you need is a valid ID and proof of address. It's time to get on Belize's fastest mobile 4G LTE advanced network. Visit livedigi.com to find out more, or hit us up on WhatsApp or Facebook. Digi, our national telecom.
I am proud to be a Belizean.
I've always enjoyed the different flavors of my country. Every nook and cranny has its own unique taste.
Our history, rich with culture. We've come so far since our independence. Our flag, rivers, mountains, our people, diverse and strong.
Looking back, I am proud and honored. We must continue to preserve and conserve our culture and country for the next generation.
This is our Belize. Respect it, cherish it, love it.
My parents always said, when it's time to build, invest in quality products that last a lifetime, even if it means paying a little more. It is now my turn to invest in my own home, and it's not even a question. It has to be Oran Windows. My contractor recommends Oran because of the heavy-duty construction, the thickest gauge blades on the market, and the dual locks that allow lower louvers to close independently for privacy while the top remains open for airflow. These features make Oran aluminum louver windows the best on the market.
With Oran aluminum louver windows, you get strength, durability, and beauty with an added layer of security and protection against debris and damaging winds. Come in and check out the variety of sizes and colors at Design Depot, located at Mile 3 Philip Goldson Highway in Belize City.
Today, during the Caricom Intersessional at San Pedro, News 5 spoke with Deputy Prime Minister Montgomery Daniel about the issues that are of importance to his nation, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Daniel spoke to the matter of food security within the Caribbean.
One of the critical areas that is on the agenda for the meeting is the one of food security, not only in my country, but across the region. Where a nation is limited with food, it can be a disastrous position. And so the cost of food is rising every day. And this has to be, for leaders across the Caribbean, this has to be something on the agenda for us to see how we can come up with policies and programs to ensure that food is on the table of everyone. Yes, there are countries like Belize, like Guyana, with large land space, that can help to produce more food to help to feed the Caribbean. But equally, in the smaller islands, we have to find ways and means to help to build that process that we too can feed ourselves so that we are all in a position at the end of the day where each and everyone do not go to sleep hungry. It is important for all of us. And this, I think, is critical, and this is what is being discussed at this time at the meeting.
In other news coming out of the 33rd intersessional meeting, members of the Regional Security System, RSS, have agreed to sign a protocol to the treaty that established the RSS for the accession of the Republic of Guyana. Deputy Prime Minister Daniel spoke to us about the significance of this move and what security means for the Caribbean.
Yes, St. Vincent and the Grenadines is one of those members of the RSS. And the security is critical to all of our nations. Look what is happening in Ukraine today. And of course, we in the Caribbean, we have to be able to understand that what is happening in Ukraine can equally happen in the Caribbean. Of course, we continue to indicate that the Caribbean must be a zone of peace. And though there may be differences in languages and culture, at the end of the day, peace is something for all of our countries, even though the cultures and the languages are different.
Belize's Minister of Civil Aviation and Blue Economy, Andrea Perez, is scheduled to meet with Barbados' Prime Minister, Mia Mottley. Their exchange is due to the fact that Barbados and Belize are the only two members of Caricom to have Blue Economy ministries. In Barbados, that portfolio is shared with Maritime Affairs. News 5 hopes to have more on these talks at some point. But of course, these high-level meetings, first the Caricom Intersessional, followed by the Caricom SICA Summit, are being held in Minister Andrea Perez's constituency. He was involved in the preparations for the arrival of the Caribbean dignitaries, as well as some of the logistics to ensure these meetings are carried out to the highest standards. Here is what he told us about the preparations.
This is all timely, that we have such a historical event here, and we are much proud to say that it is in our, we call it our backyard. It's right here in Ambergis-Kino municipality, and I happen to be the area representative. But also is indicative of a very resilient community, that we always rise to the occasion for these type of international events. And of course, we embrace it. It is historical. It's putting us on the map, as our Prime Minister rightfully mentioned this morning, acknowledging us as a place to highlight for Belize and in the entire region that we stand out on that. And we are proud to be the leaders that we always rise to the occasion. And certainly it took a lot of preparation, many visits from the Ministry of the Foreign Affairs, and to also make up as well our municipality. Our town council very much rose to the occasion to make all of these things, receiving our dignitaries, also my ministry as well, the Ministry of Civil Aviation and the Belize Airports Authority, all on the ground, properly organized. So it's all clockwork, and it's working as it reflected this morning, a very successful opening of this summit.
Just ahead, the Lenten season begins. A message from the Anglican bishop when we come back.
La Unidad de Energía del Ministerio de Servicios Públicos, Energía, Logística y E-Gobernanza realizarán una encuesta nacional sobre el uso de la energía del 2 de febrero al 20 de mayo de 2022. La encuesta abarcará todos los sectores económicos de Belice y la información recolectada será usada para apoyar políticas energéticas y ayudar a planificar un futuro sostenible para el sector energético de Belice. Si su hogar ha sido seleccionado, un encuestador visitará su casa con una identificación. Las empresas recibirán un cuestionario en línea para completar. En ambos casos, el ministerio solicita su amable colaboración. Esta encuesta está financiada por una subvención del Fondo Mundial para el Medio Ambiente, por medio del Banco Mundial como organismo ejecutor del proyecto, dentro del proyecto de resiliencia energética para la adaptación al clima.
The Social Security Board, in collaboration with the Labor Department, takes this opportunity to remind insured persons of the requirements for compensation when on sick leave. Any employee who has worked with an employer for at least 2 months is entitled to 16 working days of sick leave with full pay every year. This is how it works. Upon approval of a sickness or injury benefit claim by SSD, 80% of the employee's weekly insurable earnings is paid as a Social Security benefit, and the difference in the employee's salary is paid by the employer. This is to ensure that the employee does not suffer any loss of wages when ill. After 16 days, compensation for sick leave is paid as a Social Security benefit only. Some conditions apply. This message is brought to you by the Social Security Board and the Labor Department. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Do people actually hear from God? Are there really angels and demons? Okay, now that's just unbelievable. In our next series, we're going beyond the Google search and facing the tough questions. It's time to take on the skeptic and eliminate the doubt. From inconceivable to unimaginable, we're talking about the Bible's most unbelievable truths. Every second of this series will be worth your while. Believe it or not.
End of March 2020. I was feeling really sick, so I'd been to visit my doctors. What they found is they found a tumour where I work, and my husband also had visited Galania before, so for me it was an obvious choice. I met with Olivia and her team. Like I say, they all speak great English, and they took me for the appointment with the specialist. The doctor there also spoke great English, and then they booked me in for the operation that afternoon. They had the pathologist come into the operating theatre, and then of course they took it away and they did the pathology as well, and it was actually a benign tumour, which I was very grateful to hear. You know, they did take really good care of me during that time. I mean, we think about doctors and nurses, you know, they speak great English, they're kind to you, you know, they're attentive, they try and solve problems for you, help you out with the medications. It's also closer to us, it's less hassle to get to Cancun, and of course, you know, the people coming with you, they can have a little bit of a break while you get better.
Bundle the fastest, most reliable, unlimited broadband in Belize with your prepaid or postpaid mobile plan or Netflix. You can bundle your broadband with your prepaid and enjoy 50% off all national calls, plus get SMS and data. Paid plans? Then bundle with any speed and pay only $25 extra monthly to enjoy unlimited smart-to-smart calls, plus 500 minutes, plus 6,300 megabytes of data. Stream unlimited HD movies and TV shows with our broadband, plus the Netflix add-on for only $30 monthly, and enjoy streaming on your laptop, TV, phone, or tablet. Visit a smart showroom near you to sign up or upgrade to the bundle that's right for you. Smart, bringing people together.
The Lenten season officially began today with Ash Wednesday, and many Belizeans could be seen with crosses on their foreheads. The next 40 days are to commemorate the wilderness experience of Jesus Christ following his baptism in the River Jordan. It is about overcoming challenges, sacrifices, and struggles, as well as identifying opportunities, successes, and rewards. During his reflection on the Lenten season being a time to prepare for something better, Bishop Philip Wright spoke about the COVID-19 pandemic and the conflict in Ukraine.
What an interesting Lent this is shaping up to be. As we are trying to climb out of a global pandemic, we are being drawn into a global conflict. Natural evil and human evil appear to have conspired for our collective demise, coupled with the sense that there is not much we can do about it. The helplessness and hopelessness under these circumstances have become a burden far too great for many to bear. What is true globally resonates locally as well. As a nation and a people, we too continue to sojourn through what can be described as interesting and unprecedented times. Closer to home as a diocese, we are preparing to embrace some new ways of being the church in response to what we see as the new missional imperatives we face today. Hence, the theme for our Lenten season carries on from our last diocesan synod, Transformation and Renewal, our Lenten journey.
Today, attorneys for David Gegg were back in court where they argued on behalf of Portico Enterprises, the parent company for Port of Magical Belize. The suit, which has been brought on behalf of developer Mike Feinstein against the government of Belize and the National Environmental Appraisal Committee, NEAC, also includes Portico and Waterloo as interested parties. Portico is being represented by the law firm of attorney David Morales, while Waterloo is represented by Marine Parade Chambers. Feinstein, who is the principal for Port Coral Stake Bank, is represented by the law firm of Glenn D. Godfrey. In court today, lawyers sought to dismiss the application filed on behalf of Port Coral, which they say missed the deadline for filing. That matter will be decided on Thursday morning. On Tuesday, News 5 spoke with Gegg, who said Belize is ripe for cruise tourism, but larger carriers are only prepared to call on Belize's port if there are mainland docking facilities.
I remember our Prime Minister saying months back that the markets will decide. And that's what this meeting is. I reached out to the FCCA several months ago and invited them to come to Belize to see what we're doing. And it's been in the planning stages for quite some time, but they're here. And it's a short window of time to share with them everything that Magical Belize represents. But I think we did so effectively because yesterday we flew over the entire port area by helicopter, which was the fastest way to have them see everything that needed to be seen. And you've heard what the president of the FCCA has said. Cruise tourism can play a huge role in the future of Belize, employing thousands of people, but it needs to be a mainland docking facility, which of course is what we are doing. And I think, what everything boils down to, Isana, is location, location. The discussion in the port space is very volatile, as we all know. I've been trying to stay under the radar. Obviously, with FCCA here, I can't. So I will say this. We signed our ECP in April of last year. It mandates us to do certain things in phases, and we have been doing that. We've had teams on the ground since then that are working today and tomorrow and next week and next month to accomplish what we need to accomplish in phase 1 of our environmental compliance plan.
Up next, a task force assembles to determine the way forward for the minimum wage. Stay with us.
Hola, usuario de eCash. La aplicación eCash está disponible en español. Cambiar el idioma de tu aplicación de eCash de inglés a español es rápido y sencillo. Déjame mostrarte cómo se hace. Primero, abre tu aplicación eCash. Introduce tu PIN. Toca el icono More en la parte inferior de tu pantalla. Selecciona Security, selecciona Language y luego selecciona Spanish. Vuelve a introducir tu PIN y ya está. Tu aplicación de eCash está ahora en español y puedes seguir disfrutando de tu cartera digital eCash. La aplicación eCash de Belize Bank te hace la vida más fácil.
Available at Ben's. Celebrating 75 years of quality and savings.
Why should you wear your mask? To protect myself. My friends. My family and others. I wear my mask because I love my grandparents. With so many reasons to wear a mask, we continue to advise persons to wear a face mask properly, covering both nose and mouth. Together, we can keep Belize COVID-19 safe.
The ministry is collaborating with SpeedNet Communications to have a vaccination campaign for children ages 12 to 17 years. Children who get vaccinated will get a chance to win fabulous prizes, including backpacks with supplies, Nintendo Switch, tablets, book tuitions, and MiFi with 3 months data. Only children 12 to 17 years old can participate in this smart and Ministry of Health and Wellness raffle. At vaccination sites, each vaccinated child, upon being vaccinated, will receive a ticket to place their name, age, date of birth, BHIS number, and contact information on, which will be filled out by a parent or legal guardian. The sooner a person vaccinates, the more chances he or she will have to win. Get vaccinated, Belize. Vaccination saves lives.
Belizean painter Alex Sanker is on the island of Ambergris Caye, painting a special piece in honor of Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Barbados. The painting is inspired by Prime Minister Mottley's COP26 speech. Sanker is hoping word of the painting gets to Prime Minister Mottley before her departure on Thursday. Here is what he told us today when we visited him inside the park in downtown San Pedro.
First thing I want to make clear, what she represents is going to benefit all of us. What's happening this week in our country that I love so much. We are a community in the Caribbean, and people like her stand out because she have a passion for what she's trying to expose and also try to get accomplished. And I've been looking at her with climate change for quite some time, but when it really shook me was when they had the summit. Right, and that speech, I could have heard it in her voice and everything. And you know what, it's crazy. And then, you know, I do a lot of historical pieces. Like I always tell people, it might rub off on a lot of people that like certain pieces, but it's about the history. So 100 years from now, your kid's going to be reading book off my pieces, right? And at the end of the day, like I had mentioned to you earlier, once she see this painting and she like it, I'm going to give her as a gift from Belize.
So your intention is to get this painting to her?
Get this painting to her, because at the end of the day, she definitely are the type of people that I look up to, because they're leaders and they also represent a lot, which are for the future, because a lot of us doing stuff for the kids of tomorrow. And that's why I have so much respect for her, because at the end of the day, like I said, I didn't know she was going to come here, but since that whole thing, I was going to do it and eventually travel all the way to Barbados and try to find her. I don't think it would be a problem to say on the news in Barbados, I brought this for your Prime Minister. So that.
When you found out that she was here, you began working on it?
Yes, so the thing is, I have to make this clear. People always see the bandwagon, but people don't know how much it takes to get the bandwagon rolling. Meaning, in 48 hours, I got 3 hours sleep. I went to sleep this morning like 5:20 and I got up 6:45. So that's like 1 hour, 5 minutes sleep. But it doesn't matter. What matters is what I have here now, because remember, she's here for just a limited time. So I wanted to do something in tribute to show her like, welcome to my country, but also do something that she could cherish for the rest of her life.
The Minimum Wage Task Force held its first meeting today in Belmopan. Convened by the Ministry of Rural Transformation, Community Development, Labor and Local Government, the group will oversee implementation of the $5 minimum wage commitment of Plan Belize. This follows Cabinet's November request to the ministry that they develop a plan to gradually increase the minimum wage, which is currently $3.30 an hour, and brings it up to $5. The last increase was in 2012. According to the Ministry of Labor, now, 10 years later, the existing minimum wage for unskilled workers and workers who are engaged in elementary occupations is being reassessed. Because this would have implications for various sectors of the economy, the phased increases will be tied to productivity, growth, and Belize's competitiveness. Stakeholder input will also be considered. The task force is comprised of 7 persons representing workers, employers, and the government. The chair is Cindy Thompson of the University of Belize. Other members are Daniel Gutierrez of Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Carlicia Francisco of National Bank of Belize, Fane Nicasio from the Ministry of Economy Development, Luis Luke Martinez of the National Trade Union Congress of Belize, Candice Suter of Central Bank of Belize, and Anne-Marie Thompson of the Ministry of Rural Transformation, Community Development, Labor, and Local Government. On Monday, Ignite Belize handed over 100,000 Belize dollars worth of medical equipment collected through the generosity of local and international donors. According to a release from Ignite Belize, the supplies include walkers, crutches, canes, and wheelchairs. These will be distributed through the Ministry of Human Development to those in need. Ignite Belize is described as a social movement to invigorate the diaspora in the United States. Project manager Erica Antoinette Castillo-Slayton says the Health is Our Wealth project will be the first of many to come.
Today, I stand before you with a charge to Belizeans home and abroad. I am here to move and inspire all, but most importantly, those of the diaspora, to take inventory of your resources, relationships, and access to have influence over those that can be of great value to our beloved Belize. There is no one more responsible for the condition of Belize than its people. I want to encourage you to partner with Belize.
That's the news. Stay tuned for the Caricom press conference, which will be aired immediately after the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.